So you work out. Did you know that there are two categories of muscle contractions? And one of the categories of muscle contractions breaks down into two others. If you're not doing all three types of muscle contraction, you could be missing out on your workouts. Let's break down what they are and what kind of strength you can actually produce in each. First and foremost, we have isometric contractions. An isometric contraction is when the muscle stays the same length. So the length of the muscle does not change. Think of this like a hold. Any kind of a static hold is going to be an isometric contraction. Isotonic contractions are when the muscle length does change. So those are our two big categories. Isometric, muscle length does not change. Isotonic, muscle length does change. Within isotonic contractions, we have concentric contractions. In these, muscle shortens. This is like the part of a pull-up when you're actually pulling yourself up. As far as the bicep goes, the lats go, those are shortening when you do it. The eccentric phase is going to be when the muscle lengthens. Now, this would be the opposite. So when you're lowering yourself down from a pull-up, the lats are going through an eccentric contraction. The biceps are going through an eccentric or lengthening contraction. Now, there's talk that you should never work out without an eccentric contraction. I want to be clear with you. You never have. No matter how fast you move, there is some component of an eccentric contraction going on in your lifts. They're like the brakes. Without the brakes, even when you think you're just smashing into the bottom of a squat, for example, your body is doing a little bit of slowing down there. Just not as much as maybe we would like. So, eccentric lengthening contractions, concentric shortening contractions, isometric maintenance contractions. What's the difference? Well, let's pretend that you can hold 100 pounds right here. Right here, you can just hold it. Isometrically, you may have about 100 pounds of strength. The benefit of this is going to be some muscle strengthening, some tendon strengthening. Both of them are kind of giving a little bit, but there's benefit to them being worked at the same time, especially when it comes to postural muscles. Resisting rotation, carrying things. That's when isometric stuff is going to typically be the most valuable for you. Concentric contractions. If you can hold 100 pounds here, good research will demonstrate you can probably curl about 80 pounds. So less weight, which means immediately we're using less load, but we're traveling over a longer distance. Remember, 100 pounds we can hold, 80 pounds we can start down here and bring it all the way up to here. These are not exact. Okay, so please don't hold me to a study that you found on PubMed. These are relative values. The eccentric contraction is going to allow you to move anywhere, depending on the type of exercise, from 120 pounds to 175 pounds. A lot more load. A lot. That means I might be able to take 175 pounds from here and control the pace with which I lower it down. The benefit here is typically going to be very high for tendon health, and it's going to be helpful to repair damage in a muscle tissue when the fibers get crossed up. The value here is going to be most likely building the kind of muscle that you're looking for from an aesthetic purpose. And of course, producing force. This is where you produce force. And here, we're going to be getting a little bit of both tendon health and muscle health, and we're going to best improve our postural strength working on this kind of contraction. Make sure that when you work out, you're including isometric, concentric, and eccentric contractions in your workouts. Turn pro.